Hey guys, welcome and you've joined us right here on Moneycontrol, and we'll talk about the silver prices today where we're trading at around 3 month lows in the international markets. A bit of a gain coming in right now, but for the Indian markets we still are at a 50 cents of a discount per ounce here. That is because the silver prices still are 30% higher than their lows that we saw in August 2022, and India has imported a lot more silver in the previous year at record almost at around 9,450 tons. This is much higher than what we did in the last 2 years at around 22 to 2,700 tons there. So almost many times higher there. With so much silver here, import duty on the higher side, and the cheaper silver that has been imported with no buyers inside, you have seen that discount come in for the Indian markets. Surprisingly, even as silver is a part industrial metal and the demand for that is touted to be much higher, at these higher levels, on ground demand for investment, for physical buying or industrial metals, industrial demand is still on the weaker side. So when you look at the strength in US dollar, that is one reason to blame for that. The second is the weak Chinese demand even now because the manufacturing data for the year 2022 has been on the weaker side, and we have seen a spillover of that trend in the month of Jan as well. What the street also is worrying about the hawkish US Fed moves going forward because the economic data from US has been quite resilient, and that might lead to another rate hike coming in from there. The other thing is as the street looks at industrial demand on ground, that is yet to pick up at a number that the markets are working with, because everything else that you look at in sense of fundamentals has been on the stronger side for silver. But in last 1 month itself, we have seen silver prices give away nearly 10% of its gains. When you look at the inventories on LBMA or on COMEX, they are at a multi-year lows. That is a supported factor. This is going to be yet another year that we are looking at a big global deficit in sense of supplies that is supported too. And then silver is used for in your smartphones and EVs and solar panels, etc. And that demand is expected to constitute nearly 40% of overall silver demand. So when you look at all of these fundamentals on slightly medium to longer term, they're all on the positive side. For the very near term, yes, it's about strength in US dollar. It's about concerns of another rate hike. It's about whether or not the Chinese demand is sustainable or the industrial demand will continue to come into the markets. So it's quite divided between the very short term and slightly longer term for silver. While we have seen an all-time high of silver at 78,000 rupees, but that was back in 2020. From there, we saw a low of 51,000 rupees per kg for silver in 2022 as well. For this year, the street expects that while the lows will be supported at around 60,000 or thereabout, the highs could almost go up to 85 to 90,000 rupees in the second half of this year. So while we are looking at strong demand expectation of silver, for the near term, it's quite choppy. But if you are an investor, if you believe in the silver story, EV and solar story as well, then silver is the metal to go to and keep invested in.